Well, top of the afternoon, it's Scott Childers and my good buddy, Chet Brett. Hi, Chet. Happy New Year. Happy holidays.
Happy New Year.
We are recording this. We're just a few days away from New Year's Eve. Hope your holidays are going okay. What have you been up to?
I've got a quick trip back east to see the family, which was great. Always love to see my family. And now back telling the story about Righteously Good Beer as we celebrate the end of 2017 and kick off 2018.
Wonderful. Chet is with Church Street Brewery, which is located in Itasca, Illinois. And he's also a board member for the Illinois Craft Brewers Association. And if you've been to any of the brew fests, you may see this really tall guy.
Just
there you go. Look at, he is so tall, he's out of our shot, in like a orange sweatsuit. But it doesn't have numbers on it,
yeah,
so it's
not a Stateville issued orange jumpsuit.
But as I like to say, Chet is the poster child for craft beer in Illinois. That is, and the mouthpiece as well.
Well, we're enjoying ourselves, so that's part of it.
So the reason we had Chet come in today is we have New Year's coming up. New Year's Eve is right around the corner, and this is a very interesting stat that Chet has given me about libations, if you will, for a New Year's Eve. You want to tell them about it?
Yeah, so traditionally people would pick up a couple of bottles of champagne and think that's what people have to do to celebrate their New Year's Eve.
Well, I don't know if they have to do it, but they
that's sort of been the kind of default thing.
Sure.
And people get caught up. I mean, everybody likes to hear Guy Lombardo do Old Lang Syne.
Yeah, that's true.
So you might still want to have a bottle of champagne, but instead of spending $10 or $15 on a couple of bottles of extra champagne, why not pick up a local six-pack of some craft beer that you might say, hey, you know what? I'm glad I got an opportunity to share this, because you get 6 bottles usually for about $10, $11, and you can share a lot of different flavors with your friends. So.
And you were saying that that's really where it's trending, that a lot of people are starting to move away from, say, that and going more towards craft beer.
Well, people sometimes will stick to what they kind of know, and it makes it easy. So if you're having your confirmation, your bar mitzvah, you're picking up a keg of beer, and you know what, let's get a keg of the big macro beers. Well, now more and more people are saying, you know what, I don't have to do that. Why not spend a couple extra bucks, get the kind of beer that people are going to really enjoy, really have some unique flavors and taste, and really being part of the community and supporting local business was really kind of part of the story.
I was talking to one of the guys here that works at the station, and he's in his 20s, and he says that his friends no longer drink any of the big macro brews. They say they only go in for craft beer, whether it is going to one of the local breweries or going to, say, one of the distributors, whether it's like Iron and Glass, which is located in Romeoville, or maybe to Binny's, or even to, Mariano's, Jewel Osco, or whatever, where they have the craft brew there. And they pass by the Buds and the Lights and those beers, and they go right to the ones that they know are brewed right here in our community.
And part of that is that, some of these kids are learning to drink at 20, 21, 22 years old. Their older, their friend's older brother has been home brewing, and they'll expose them to flavors and tastes that when you and I might have been drinking some Billy beers back in the 70s and 80s, these kids are being exposed to some really interesting, exciting flavors in beer. But at the same time, we also make real traditional European lagers, which have stood the test of time. So,
right.
You know what? You can get a lager, easy drinking. You don't have to be intimidated by all these kind of highfalutin styles that some of the younger guys are going for.
Well, I think about Joe and Lisa at Church Street in Itasca, and Joe learned his craft in Germany. So you have very traditional German beers, but then you'll do some stuff that's also kind of out of the ordinary. But what do we have here? What's the one that we have?
So the one
right
we
now?
just broke into is the Brimstone IPA, and we've got our new packaging. See it up there. It's new labels and whatnot. So this is what we would call a traditional West Coast IPA.
There we go.
There you go.
That is a beautiful, beautiful label.
Yeah, thanks. We're real excited. We've been working with some great local artists to come up with our new packaging, which is all part of the evolution of craft beer. We started 5 years ago, which we're real excited about. But we started out with pretty traditional, straightforward packaging. And if you look on the side, we have a little shout out to our Brewers Association and the idea of supporting local and craft and whatnot. So that's all part of what we're representing when we represent our beer and bring up the Righteously Good beer to the people in Chicagoland and beyond.
Now, what's interesting about you guys at Church Street, not only do you produce your own, but you've produced a lot of beer for some of the other ones that are just getting started.
Yeah, fortunately, Joe, being a chemical engineer, was able to produce this beautiful state of the art, tremendous brewing facility. And a lot of these younger, newer breweries don't have the capital or resources, and they're not sure what they want to do. They're able to come to us, and we're able to brew a batch or two of their beer. And in some cases, the whole idea ultimately is that we give them a beginning foundation. Our friends from Bang and Gavel have made no secret of trying to open their new brew pub in
He has
downtown
got
Tinley Park. So
he has got a jalapeno ale that it's
great.
unreal.
It's-
It is
it's-
unreal. It really is. And I think you hit it right on the head. That is the fun of this. Now, if you haven't been, you've probably seen the craft breweries in your own neighborhood, depending on where you're living or where
and
you're
if not,
watching us.
Google them, look them up.
Absolutely.
Or,
Check them out and just go in and there's no wrong answers. That's the great thing, is that if you're not sure what you like, generally whoever is behind the bar, behind the counter there, is going to ask you a few questions. Do you like things that are a little hoppier? Do you like things that are a little heavier? Do you like something that's a little lighter? And they'll give you some samples and get you in the right direction.
Yeah, and we'd love to encourage you to come to our brewery or all the local breweries, but also don't be intimidated if you're going into Iron and Glass or some of these bottle shops or Whole Foods or Binny's and people that have supported, and ask the staff there. They're very knowledgeable, and a lot of times they'll be able to kind of guide you in the right direction. So don't be shy, and don't be intimidated. And there's no wrong answers, like we were saying
No,
before.
not at all.
Just say, hey, boom, you know what? That's
I'll tell you what's going to happen is you're going to find things that you really like, and then you realize when they change out to something else, you're going to go, man, I really
Well,
wish that was
and
back."
we just were enjoying the Pontificator,
Yeah.
the Doppelbock, which
Yeah.
is, again, in our brewery we don't sell scarcity, but we come out these seasonal styles that they're only going to be around for a little bit.
Yeah.
So if you like a good hearty beer with a little bit of extra kick in the alcohol department, try to find some Pontificator, Doppelbock, or some of the other winter warmers as they call them.
Now, where else can you find Church Street? You find it at the brewery, which is located in Itasca.
Sure, and then of course Gillison's are good buddies down in Aurora. And then one of the many great things about the beer industry, you can go to your local watering hole, and they might not be so crafty right now, but you might say, hey, you know what? I really like to check out that Heavenly Hellas by Church Street, and they can get
one of my
they can get a
favorites.
keg. It's great beer, right?
Yeah.
So they can get a keg in, they can see how that goes, and hopefully it'll go well, and they can move on. Or otherwise, obviously the big names, the Binnies and the Whole Foods and the Marianos and the Jewel and all those people.
But that's actually a good idea, isn't it? If you have a local place that you like to go, you should always ask, hey, can you get us some of this? Because I would figure you have to remember, all the brewers are local business people. So your dollars are staying right here in the community to help them grow their business, which is big. This is not like your big beers. This all stays right here in the community. So I would figure, if you go into one of your local places and say, hey, can you get this for me?
Sure.
That's a great thing.
And fortunately, the managers and the owners of these bars and restaurants and retail outlets understand that now's the time where the market's expanding. We don't want to be on the other side of it. There's
Right.
talk of some of these casual food dining spots that kind of missed the mark on that. They kind of stayed with their corporate mandated handles, and they kind of were left to the side, where some of the places that gave a little bit more autonomy to the local guys in the market deciding, hey, you know what, this is a good local beer. We're going to put it on. We're going to sell it, and people are going to support it. So it all kind of brings that old local part of the community part, which kind of gives us a leg up and kind of a lot of fun with it too.
And I will say that actually decides a lot of places that we'll go to eat. If you go to a place, even Fat Ricky's right in Romeoville, that they have Metal Monkey on their handles. I mean, that makes me want to go there as well, because at least I know I'll get some of my favorite beer with the food. And, that's a great vote of confidence, as you said, for the local brewers. So if you go in for the first time, go check it out and ask a lot of questions. There's no dumb questions.
Exactly.
One of the best places I think you can go on the web is go grab this app, which is called Hop Plotter. Hop Plotter is what it's called. It's a free app, and you dial in your location, and it comes up on a map, and it will show you all the ones that are right there in your area. You can click on it, check it out, check out their hours, check out their website, see what they have on tap, and then just go in and check it out. I think that's really the best way to do it. Right?
Yeah, and I think people would be quite surprised if they realize they pulled it up on the map how many spots are. And because like us, we're we're called Church Street, but we're at the end of Industrial Drive, which sometimes can.
I remember when we went to look for you, it was a little difficult. It was
Yeah.
definitely a little difficult.
But we're right off the Salt Creek if you're riding your bike, and then as
Mm-hmm.
I mentioned, we had some people that actually kayak to our brewery. So
Well, and
we're
you have
right
that
there.
beautiful outdoor area now, which is so great. Not something you want to go to in the winter. You're probably going to
Well,
want to go inside.
we got a
But you
little
got a lo-
heaters, but yeah,
Yeah.
It's, you know.
Well, I mean, today we're at what 7 degrees. Probably go inside.
Yeah, exactly.
And go and check it out. And we'll throw some links on here for you as well, so you can check it out right below, right here on the page, and take a look at it yourself. Chet, always a pleasure. A
Cheers.
Happy New Year, my friend.
Happy and healthy.
What do we have on tap for 2018? What do you look in your crystal ball or in your beer ball here and see coming up as far as craft brew here in Illinois and Chicagoland?
Well, there's no end in sight with the expansion of breweries that have been successful, and then the new breweries that are opening up, quite literally weekly. I think there's over 6,000 breweries in the United States now, which is a pretty big number. We had some marching orders to try to get to 20% of the beer market by 2020. I don't know if we're going to quite get there as a number, because as we all grow, the big boys buy the top guys off our
Right,
pile, and they
right.
take a brewery that might represent 500,000 barrels or 1,000,000 barrels. That comes out of our pile and goes in their pile, and all of a sudden we have to get 1,000 breweries opening, making 1,000
But
barrels to get
there's
that.
always somebody coming up from the bottom. I know
Sure.
there's a few new ones coming in. Will County Brewing in Shorewood, over in Willowbrook. I know Black Horizon. They have a very low output right now, but they are looking to expand as well. And so there's always going to be something to replace the ones that leave at the top.
Sure.
At the bottom, and that's why they need to have your support as well. Go check them out. You'll find ones you like, you'll find ones you don't like, but you know what? It's like anything else. In the end, you find where you fit in.
Yeah, and some of them have brew pubs where they have the food and restaurant right there,
Mm-hmm.
and some of us are fortunate enough to be able to get different restaurants in every week with our food trucks. And
That's
our friend-
true.
We're talking about our good friend Giuseppe with the Chicago Pizza Boss.
That's
and
right.
Greg with Toasty
Toasty
Cheese
Cheese.
and the Bruges Brothers and some of these
Yeah.
other ones. And again, it just represents part of the community that we all represent.
Yeah.
We're drinking some beer, having some local food, and you bring. In most cases, a lot of the breweries are family friendly and dog friendly. We know we are probably welcoming of both to our breweries. So.
All right, check out Church Street now. Go to churchstreetbrewery.com, and we'll have a link here for you. You can check them out in Itasca, or just check out one of the local ones, and you'll see Chet out on the tour, right?
Yeah, keep on rocking in the free world 2018.
Absolutely. Happy New Year.
Happy
Thank
New
you
Year,
for
pal.
coming
All the
in.
best. Thank
Good
you
to
very
see
much.
you. Cheers.